said Alice. I don't know why Alice is coming. Lindy is my helper. So, Lindy, let's look at the thing here. Which of the following is false? Now, all these are going to seem like tall tales, but actually one of them is true. In 1788, hail fell to a depth of almost 3 feet in Connecticut, causing major flooding when it melted. Some tornadoes are so strong they peel up the pavement of highways, leaving just dirt. The world record for rainfall in 24 hours is 6 feet. Or D, Florida once had 3 hurricanes over the state at the same time. Now, 3 of those are right, and one of them is a tall tale. Which is the fib? Which one seems the most preposterous, the most...
D.
D? Now, how did you know that? Oh, you don't need glasses, and you could see the D that he showed you. Very good. Awesome. Let's check it out. This is actually true. It did happen in Canterbury, Connecticut, July 8, 1788. Just ridiculous. This is true. Unfortunately, EF5 tornadoes do this all the time. All right. This is true in the Indian Ocean on an island. 6 feet of rain in 24 hours. But this is absolutely false. We made that one up. So, congratulations. Awesome job. Oh, my goodness. Would you like one of these, or would you rather have a little snowbird in the box? This. All right. You can cuddle with this at night. Thank you so much. Congratulations. Give them a round of applause.
All right. Thank you for playing your games with us. Now, this is the point in the show where we have to...
Thank you. Okie doke. Time for another Facebook question. We posted this on the Channel 4 page and got a lot of response to it. Which of the following, you can think of your own answer if you didn't partake, which of the following was cycled up and down in a thunderstorm like a piece of hail for 40 straight minutes? Was it a gun safe? Was it a cow? Was it somebody's diary? Or was it a human being? This is what Facebook told us. Most people thought it was a cow because they watched the movie Twister, I would guess. It was instead a man. This is actually back in 1959, a pilot, Lieutenant Colonel Rankin, was flying his jet at about 40,000 feet. It lost power. It shut down. He had to eject. He ejected down, unfortunately, into a thunderstorm over South Carolina, North Carolina, and was tossed up and down through that thunderstorm for 40 minutes, getting pounded by rain, hail, lightning all around him, had frostbite, came down to the ground. His parachute worked. This guy was all banged up. An amazing story. Google that. Lieutenant Colonel Rankin, I believe he was a Marine Corps pilot, if you're interested in that ridiculous story. But we referred to hail in that discussion there. This, in fact, is the largest piece of hail ever to fall and be recorded. This happened at Vivian, South Dakota about 4 years ago, 3-4 years ago. It's volleyball size, 8 inches across. Yeah, it's ridiculous. And you may be wondering how something that huge can form. It all happens because of thunderstorm updrafts. Your cars are powered by gasoline or electricity or both, and thunderstorms are powered by rising air. So we have a make-believe thunderstorm, my hairdryer, and we just turn it on and put a ping pong ball in that updraft current, and that's what happens. And so that represents a piece of hail that will float all day long as that updraft continues, and then it falls out of the updraft, or the updraft weakens, and then the hail falls in your yard, and that happens. Don't worry about it. You can leave it, or you can keep it. Souvenir. So this is a cross-section of a thunderstorm, and this is actually showing you what happens. So a thunderstorm here, we have actually a little raindrop or something get carried up through the storm. Up and through here, most of the thunderstorm is below zero. It's 50 below at the top of the storm. So it freezes, gets coated by super cool liquid water, freezes, falls down a little bit out of the updraft, gets liquid water on it, and then gets kicked back up to the storm. So if you ever find a huge piece of hail and you're really bored, get a serrated knife and cut it in half, and you'll see it grows in rings, showing how many cycles through the thunderstorm it made. Pretty neat. If you ever want to report hail, we'd love to get your report at Channel 4. The Weather Service would love to get those reports as well. Think about comparing it to a thing, the size of a thing. 1/3 of an inch is a pea size. Oh, golf ball size, that's 1.75 inches. You wouldn't call in and say, I just had 2.75 inch hail at my house. No, you'd say, I had baseball size hail at my house. God forbid. Notice there's no marble up here. There's no marble, but we get reports of marble size hail all the time. Marbles vary in size. So we're scratching our heads in the Weather Center when we hear that report, because it really means nothing to us, because you can have big and small marbles. This is what hail does. We all know it messes up roofs. It messes up cars. It destroys golf greens. And for the unlucky pilot who happens to fly too close to a thunderstorm, he has to explain to his boss why he did that to a jet. That's an airplane engine. Let's talk about microbursts damaging straight-line wind events. Essentially, bursts of high wind on the leading edge of a thunderstorm that can top 100 miles an hour. 90 miles an hour will knock down all human beings. You can't stand in higher than 90 mile an hour wind. So this could knock down anybody if it's that strong. Leading edge, Paul showed a picture at the top of the segment here, and it showed a shelf cloud. This is a shelf cloud. Below and behind that is ferocious wind. So if you ever see a shelf cloud coming, it's just a very well-defined cloud that leans out ahead of a thunderstorm. Go the other way. It's not going to be good. This is what a microburst can do. Level a forest. Now, this picture taken from the top of a water tower. Notice the damage in one general direction. Versus a tornado, things are all over the place. Lightning for a moment, we'll talk about that. 50,000 degrees Fahrenheit, 30,000 degrees Celsius. It's so hot, when it hits a tree, it boils water instantly. So it actually boils the water between the tree and the bark and blows it off. Sometimes when lightning is going to happen, it's very obvious. You see that out the back window, you know there'll be lightning. This is when it's most dangerous. When you think the storm is done and the sky looks like that, you can still get lightning and get hurt by it or get killed by it. Bolt out of the blue, when lightning shoots out the side of a thunderstorm, that's what we call it. It can shoot 10 miles from a storm. So there could be a storm over Cookeville that almost causes a strike here in Sparta. Not quite, just north of here. When lightning happens, thunder results always. If you can't hear the thunder, it's called heat lightning. Essentially, because it's 50,000 degrees, it superheats the air. That rapid expansion of the air as it heats causes a shock wave, and this is thunder. That was the wake-up call for anybody asleep. No. So essentially, when thunder happens, if you can count to 5 after the strike and then hear the thunder, know that it was 1 mile away. If you can count to 10, know that that strike was 2 miles away, because the speed of sound moves 1 mile in 5 seconds. Lightning safety. If you hear thunder, head indoors and stay indoors for 30 minutes. Avoid open spaces outdoors. If you're stuck outdoors, don't go under a tree. That's like the dumbest thing you could really do. Yeah, because lightning likes tall objects. If you're in an open field, crouch down low. Block your ears. Thunder can hurt your ears. Don't go in water. That would be a bad idea, because water conducts electricity. This will do nothing for you. It will keep the rain off of you, but you will get blasted by lightning if it hits the picnic shelter. So don't seek shelter there. In a house, in a building, in an automobile are all good. Automobiles are good not because of the rubber tires. Instead, it's because you're surrounded by a metal cage, and that actually insulates you as long as you're not touching that metal. It's called a Faraday cage effect, if you want to look it up on the internet. Avoid windows. Lightning can be blinding. Corded appliances and water in the house. Your house has a lot of plumbing and a lot of wiring, and if the house gets struck and you've got the hairdryer in your hand, it can go right into your body. So don't do those things. If it's dishes night for you, kids, whatever, wives, husbands, I'm the dish guy in my house. In a thunderstorm, it's not safe to do dishes. Okay, all the stuff we just talked about begins with clouds. Some cool cloud pictures to sort of take in here. This is a monster hurricane. The ingredients for all clouds are water, dust, and colder air. Obviously, the planet has a lot of water, and we've got a lot of dust too, and we've got deserts. We need to make cold air a lot of times. I need a helper. I need a volunteer. Quick, you're good. Quickest hand I saw. Come on up. Well, if you can get by. Quick experiment, fun one. This is how cold air is manufactured many times in the atmosphere. The air rises, the pressure goes down, and it has to get colder. So I have a can of compressed air. It's a Dallas. That Dallas is going to aim this can of air, and pull down the trigger over here. Air is going to come out. The temperature of the can will go way down just because he's letting air out, lowering the pressure. First, though, before you do that, we're going to take the temperature of the can. So don't move. Tell everybody what that says.
79.
79. Now, pull down the trigger and don't stop until I say, and it's going to be tiresome. Very tiresome. Describe to everybody what the can feels like now.
It feels like you're touching cold ice.
Yeah. If I had him do this for 15 more seconds, let me take over for a minute. If I had him do this for 15 more seconds, you can see the air coming out. You don't want to do that. Not safe. We didn't sign any paperwork, insurance paperwork. The whole thing would be covered in ice. You wouldn't be able to read the writing on the can. There's ice forming on the top of this thing. All right. Dallas, hold that thing. Let's take its temperature again. It's pretty weak.
61.
61. I was hoping for better than that. But do you see the ice?
Oh.
Yeah, wow. So you can do that at home. So essentially, if the pressure goes down, it must get colder. Give Dallas a round of applause. Thank you, pal. Speaking of cold air, a couple of slides on this past winter. This is Old Hickory Lake. It was so cold we had a lot of the lakes and ponds catch and freeze. January was the coldest one we've had in 29 years since 1985. 15th coldest on record. The average temperature in Nashville was freezing. 5 degrees below average. 8 days in Nashville didn't hit freezing. That means, the Bondecroft Elementary School on Bon Air Mountain probably didn't get to freezing 16 days or something crazy like that. And a big snowstorm, that's Westall, Tennessee, in extreme eastern Cumberland County, just east of here. Our coldest morning, January 7th, White County, where you at? 4 below, just south of Putnam County. Nashville got down to 2. Nationally, this is what that morning looked like. We had some teens, 20s below in the Midwest. This is the coldest feeling morning. Coldest feeling morning of the winter. 59 below zero for the wind chill, northeastern Minnesota. I don't know how Paul took that place. All right, so this is why it happened. The polar vortex, essentially little centers of cold air orbiting around the pole, broke loose. You can see, watch the timer here. When we get to early January, this is Tennessee, the purple dives south, and here it comes, clobbers us. So that's the coldest air on the planet, and you can see this is one of the centers of it, boom, right here over the Midwest. That's why it was so cold here. It wasn't very snowy in Middle Tennessee. This is our biggest snowstorm, and the plateau got 5 to 6 inches in Cumberland and Grundy County. Nashville got 1.5 inches for the season. Chicago got 80. Toledo got 85. Erie, Pennsylvania got 11 feet. This is about 11 feet. Indianapolis, get in a car, go up 65 or whatever it is, 3 hours, 3.5 hours north of here. They get almost 5 feet of snow. We got ripped off. The winter overall, 29th coldest. 2 of the last 5 winters were colder. So what that means is that January was really the only unusual part of this past winter. And in case you're wondering, this cold winter will have absolutely no impact on what we can expect this coming summer. So they're not related at all. All right, that's it. And we pass it along to Paul for game, I believe.
Seeing what's in here and if he's poisoning all of us. Nope, it's fine. Okay. We're going to do a game. Time for some more trivia, and I have a volunteer.